Hello class, this is Robert Smith coming at you from MDF2, week 1, term 14-2, and this is my Project 1 reflection video. This week we were tasked to make a Twitter application which will display the user's recent tweets in a table view. Clicking on a cell in a table view will display the detail view. We'll just display the same information in the cell. It'll just pass the information to a new view. It will also have the ability to post to Twitter. It will have the ability to show the user's profile information and also have the ability to refresh. So let's first walk through the code. The one thing I know I could have done better, but I just could not get to work, was all this right here. I was trying to take the date, which is displayed in this long, almost unreadable format, to display it in a much more readable format. And so I set up a date formatter, and I have it set to, right now I have it set to NS date formatter long style. Before I actually had it, instead of setting a style, I was setting the actual format and using the symbols, and I had it, I thought I had it exactly like I'm getting it from the JSON, because from the research I did, you have to format it to the style that you're receiving it from JSON. So that's what I was trying to do. And then I was creating a string from that value that I'm getting from JSON, and then creating a new date and using the date from string and passing it this string, and then creating a new format, which is a format I wanted to display, and then creating a string from date and passing it that temp date. But anytime I tried to do this, I was just getting a null return, and I just could not get it working. And the date is displaying, so I decided to not waste any more time with it. And but that's what I could have done better. That's what I wanted to do, was format that date in a better format. But yeah, so in the view controller, I have this method set up that gives me Twitter access, and I'm calling it in the view did load. And this is just like Wendy did in the video, pretty much. Another thing that I wanted to do was, instead of storing this JSON information in an array, or in a dictionary, I wanted to store the JSON information in an array and then set the values from the tweets in a custom class. I thought that would have been more efficient than passing around a dictionary. But what I tried to do was, let me try to think. I tried to store the JSON in, see, this is an array right now. I tried to store it in a dictionary first, and then set up a temporary array that would have allowed me to set up a temporary array, and then set up a dictionary, or I'm sorry, a for-in loop that would allow me to loop through every object in the dictionary, and then set the values from my tweet class, which had the properties that I needed in the cells. The problem was, the JSON I'm getting back, what I was trying to do was, in the for-in loop, I needed to set an object for key, but I don't know what key to pass from this right here. I don't know what the key is, and I don't know how to format the API URL to go one step back. So I had problems there. I tried passing all keys and stuff like that in that for in loop, but it just wasn't working out. So I just decided to do it exactly the way it's done in the video, and it works. It works just fine. But I just figured having a class with properties for username, date, and tweet text would have been more efficient. But yeah, it works just fine though. And yeah, I'm just setting all these values based on the key in the dictionary. I had to format the image. I had to grab the image URL, format it into an NS data object, and then do image with data and pass it that way in order to get the profile image to display. And then I had to kind of do the same thing with not in this one with the numbers, because you're getting back a number. So I set up an NS number and then called the string value method on the NS number object in order to get that to display correctly. And the other thing that I did, instead of adding a toolbar down here for the refresh button, because the top here already has two buttons and it would have been cluttered, so the only other place was to put it down here for the refresh. I added a pull to refresh deal, and it still displays an alert view. But and then if you want to post, just pull down to refresh. You can post this to Twitter, and then if you pull down and refresh, it will refresh. Maybe. Yeah, there it is. So it does refresh just fine, but I think that's a lot better than adding a toolbar just for a refresh button. So yeah, it works just fine. That's about it. That's all the requirements from the application. Doesn't look very nice, but it does function exactly as it should. Good time this week. The biggest problem I ran into was in the requirements. If I go to the project here, right here, it gives me the user detail view. It says, see this website for usage of this call. So I go to this website, and the first thing I see is this resource URL. So the first thing I think of is, okay, well, I'm going to have to set up a new request, a new SL request, and pull this JSON separately. And I spent hours trying to figure out how to create another request, basically do all this over again in the detail view, in the user info view of the application, and it doesn't work. Basically what it was doing, it was getting to this block right here, and it was skipping the inner workings of the block. It wasn't going through. And I assume it's because there's already another request going on, and because I tried to make the store a property, because I was thinking maybe it needs to access the same store, but it wasn't working. So I was ready to just take the hit on the 15 points because I couldn't figure it out. But then I started dissecting the JSON I was already getting back, and I noticed that, wow, all this information is in this JSON already. So that really threw me off, that going to this and then seeing that other resource URL because the first thing I thought of was, okay, well, in order to get this information for the user info, I'm going to have to make another request and pull some more JSON, but that wasn't the case. All the information was already in the JSON that we were getting from the timeline. So that's what hung me up the most, and it was just a really big waste of time. But this is how I am making the refresh control work, which is UI refresh control is how you pull down to refresh. It's really easy to implement, like really easy. I was actually pretty surprised. It is kind of buggy almost. I don't know if it's just the way I'm implementing it or if it's like needs to be worked out. But I had to move this code around a lot in order to get it to act the way I wanted it to act. And but yeah, that's about it. Good week. Sorry I rambled on in the video, but yeah. So I will. I can't make it to Hangouts because I'm still at work. I'm on Central Time, so I will just see you guys in the video that I make next week. Thank you. Okay, bye bye.